When did you guys meet, and who was the first person to be doing?
I think I was, yeah. I was doing modeling for like 14 years, and then I started doing and running for girls as well, and then I just slid into the DMs.
Yeah, we met in 2018, and in September of 2018, he was like writing me, he asked me if he could take me to lunch or a hike, and I really liked that because it's different than the average, like, let me just take you to dinner or whatever. I like daytime things, but I ignored him for a couple of months, and then he kept reaching out.
You were probably DMing so many girls that you just did.
I was part of the numbers game, of course, as many men, like, obviously.
Well.
That's part of the life cycle of a man. But yeah, like in November, I decided to go on a date with him, and we kind of changed it. I was like, okay, like, let's just go do dinner. And about the day finally came, November 17th, 2018.
Oh, she's a dates girl like me. She remembers everything.
So I was getting ready to go, and I was at a point in my life, like, I moved back to LA and I dated like a few men, and they were all like typical LA people, like men.
And were you doing anything at this time?
No, I worked in sales and marketing, like a 9-to-5 business job.
Okay. Shout out to Teranea.
Yeah.
Work for them.
Yeah.
How funny.
And anyway, so about an hour before we were supposed to meet up, I called him and I said, like, my girlfriend, like, her boyfriend just broke up with her. Like, I was totally flaking on him.
Was it true, or you lying?
No, it was a total lie. I was just at a point where I was like, I don't really need to date men anymore. I'm really happy, like, by myself. Like, I would get up, go to the gym, go to work. I had my friends. Like, I was fine being single. And so I told him, like, my girlfriend's boyfriend just broke up with her. Like, I can't make it tonight. So I texted him that. And he was the only guy that has ever, like, called me. He directly called me right after, and you told him what you said.
I was just like, dude, like, you know, your girlfriend already broke up with her boyfriend. You're gonna miss an opportunity to start something maybe real and good.
Did the accent get you because you heard him on the phone?
Yeah.
Also, like, you know, I've been in
and I
dating.
knew he was, like, real, because I was questioning, like,
It's just, I hate when people, like, give you their phone number in, like, this dating game, and they're, like, chit-chatting for, like, 2 weeks, and I'm like, okay, let's meet up, because, you know, like, at the end of the day, like, you don't know if the chemistry is, like, we're not gonna be able to figure each other out without things. So I always, when I was on dates, I was just like, hey, you wanna come over and, like, maybe go for lunch, or, like, have a normal convo, because, you know, things get lost in messages, and it's easy to say whatever.
You're very direct.
Yeah, I'm from Eastern Europe, so we are super direct, you know.
Where are you from exactly?
Czech Republic.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so, you know, like, I had this instance of somebody telling me last minute that, like, oh, I checked the address and it's like, Venice is like 2 hours away. And I was like, I told you I live in Venice so a long time ago, or some other, like, girlfriends broke up, or I got sick and stuff. Like, I see through the so.
Number one, like, excuse, like, I would have given that same, like, my friend, my friend really needs
and I also, like, I didn't know who he was, and I was so I lived in Long Beach at the time, and I was driving out to Venice. So I did tell my friend, like, hey, if I send you, like, SOS, that means, like, call me, pretend there's an emergency. I literally So anyway, ended up, after he talked to me, I was like, okay, fine. Like, it meant a lot to me that he actually tried to call and like, talk to me. So I went there, and the first thing he did, I decided to go to his house first just to pick him up, like, go together to dinner, and he greeted me with my favorite, like, white wine, because I wrote it, like, on a post back in the day, like, here's my top 11 favorite things.
Well,
so just, like, white wine, like,
the thing is that, like,
Chardonnay,
look, like, you know, being a little bit in the game and playing around, you understand that, like, if you bring the girl at your house before, it's gonna be really easier to get her in later. But, you know, that being said, like, when I went on a date, you know, like, I always go on these dates, it's like I like sex, I like f***ing, but in the same time, I'm like, if it's gonna develop into something real, I hate when people say, like, oh, if you f*** a guy on the first date, it could never be, you know, like, a real
first date.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, most of the people that I know that are out together, it's like, when there's attraction, why would I actually had instances when I had to, like, would be hanging out with someone for 3 or 4 times, and there would be, you know, interaction and, like, attraction, and then the girl would always get a cold feet and kind of stop it, and I was like, what's the deal, you know? Logically explaining what's the deal, because I can play this game and I can take you on 10 dates and kind of prove the value that I'm the real one, but if you're gonna have sex and it's still gonna suck, like, we wasted each other's time.
But I think, to be fair, you have to remember that so many girls in LA have guys and then they
Yeah,
never
they
talk to
go.
them
Yeah,
ever
but
again.
that's like-
In their defense.
So
No,
I
no,
was
for
that.
sure.
I was that same.
I'm
I
a
had that
fuckboy
same
though,
perspective too. I was like, I'm done having sex with these guys on the first date, because after I fuck them, they ghost for like a week and they only call me when they need
Right.
me. But anyway, we went to dinner. We had a really great conversation and just chemistry. We went back to his house and we.
Her saying that though is probably like good for a lot of other girls out there, because they're thinking that just happens to them because they're not so great. She's pretty high,
Oh,
and
yeah.
she's saying she was having that problem. I guess it just happens. To
I
her.
have known so many hot
everyone.
girls to have that problem.
Yeah.
Guys in the city do suck.
They
LA
kind
guys,
of do.
you know,
They
but
kind
that's what I'm
of
saying.
do.
When I was on the dating apps and, you know, started going, and it was just like, dude, it's like, I was doing modeling, and they're like, oh, I thought you just like a LA douchebag with no
Yeah,
culture.
especially
shit like
being a
that.
model, yeah.
And I'm
He's
like,
t-
oh,
totally
like-
opposite, and I think it also it plays into part that like he comes from a whole different culture, and like I feel like the men that are like sometimes from LA, just there's a variety of beautiful women
bad
here,
things, right?
so
It's
it's
like-
like you have so many options.
Yeah.
A lot of
and-
guys move here to as many girls as they possibly
No,
can
because
until
there's
they're
so
like
many
years old.
girls
I
here.
mean, for
Yeah.
real, you know, like, and
Yeah.
at some aspects I wasn't different, but still where I come from, it's so much more direct and family oriented and stuff. So it's like, you know, like, yeah, you know, having a partner and a bunch of buddies, it's kind of fun, but in the same time, it's like, you know, like being in a date and starting the same conversation again and again.
What
That's tiring.
What made you like her a lot and take her serious as somebody besides just someone you want?
When obviously when you look at the pictures, it's like a cute girl with a big. I'm like, yeah, I'm into that, you know. But when we met, it was like she's a which I really like, because I was like, you know, I'm not myself, but I tried to for like 6 months, and I understand the ethical treatment of animals and stuff like that.